Ultimate MK Podquest.
Set me up for the question again, because I may have edited the prompt out in the last recording we did about 3 minutes ago. You were you were asking me about something there.
Yeah, so I thought what might be like a sensible primer, post-primer, if you will, to our comics discussion is to get a sense of the kind of comic books we actually read. So my question to you, Neil, was like, what is your taste in comics generally? Like, what's your baseline? Is it stuff that you read a lot?
I've had several comic book phases throughout my life. You know, getting into, out of, casually reading, obsessively reading, collecting, all that kind of stuff. I can safely say my comic book tastes are all over the goddamn map. Like, I really do love the medium, so I pretty much love anything inside the medium, you know?
Okay. Small or large doesn't do it for you, though?
What do you mean? Say that again. Small or large? Okay, I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's the wrong button. There we go. Fixed it. Yeah, I mean, I read like everybody knows. Love some Sabrina the Teenage Witch comics. Got a lot of those. Got a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog comics. That was probably the first thing I really collected as a kid.
Like the Archie comics ones?
I have most of the Archie run, like in long boxes in my storage. Like I have almost all of it. Not all of it, but almost all.
Isn't that a lot? That's a lot, yes?
It's a lot, yeah. I collected that consistently since, you know, I was like 7 or 8 or however old I was when that started coming out. You know, I liked Marvel stuff, DC stuff. I was really into like Teen Titans, like the Marv Wolfman, George Perez new Teen Titans from the 80s.
Okay.
Got a lot of that. But then I also have like Weird Worlds of Edgar Rice Burroughs, like Tarzan and John Carter comics, and indie stuff. Like I'm really into Paul Pope. I have most of his books. Escapo, Heavy Liquid, 100%. Big Brandon Graham fan. I have pretty much everything he's published, including like his obscure, like, was it Radio Comics or Antarctic Press? No, it was Radio Comics.
Radio Shack.
It was Radio Comics. Like I have the first 2 issues of October Yen and Universe So Big. I got all kinds. I mean, I literally I collect all kinds of stuff. Akira, Katsuhiro Otomo's Akira. I have the full collection. If it's a comic book, I'll read it. Honestly, like that's a short version. Like if someone says, "Hey, this comic is really good," and I have the time to read it, I will absolutely check it out. Like a thing I used to love to do was just dig through dollar bins at places and just like buy weird shit. Like I've got like a Mr. T comic somewhere.
Nice.
Sealed with a trading card. I've got a whole bunch of those Eternity Comics Robotech 2 issues that I've gotten like 50-cent bins at places.
Nice.
I just like comic books, dude. In fact, the first Mortal Kombat comic book I had was that Baraka one-shot that I found in a dollar bin.
Oh, that's cool.
It is no longer $1.
I imagine it's not. I imagine you could get several dollars for that. Really quick, did you say one of those was called Universe So Big?
Yes.
Okay, have you ever heard professional NHL hockey goalie Ilya Bryzgalov talk about the universe?
Sure, who hasn't?
Can I send you a clip?
No, I have not seen that. Yeah, send me a clip.
It's so funny, and I'm so glad it's somehow relevant. And then I'll talk about my taste in comics, but I just need you to hear him say almost those exact words, but just very funny.
All right, stay quiet. I'm gonna see if I can pick this up on the USB mix for the show.
The universe, you know, like how it was created, you know, like what is it, you know, the solar system is so humongous big, right? But
solar system is so humongous big. Dumb.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, sorry for derailing us so quickly.
Yeah, man, I love comic books. What about you? I mean, I could keep naming things, Jesus Christ, but I won't.
So I didn't really start reading any comic books at all, short of like Calvin and Hobbes, which I'm going to categorize as something else.
Yeah. Everyone loves Calvin and Hobbes. I'm a big Calvin and Hobbes fan.
Until I was in university, so I was probably like 19 or 20.
Sure.
And it was largely based on just like recommendations from Twitter, but almost exclusively the only comics I've ever read are from Image.
Okay.
I don't think that was a conscious decision. I think it's just kind of worked out that way.
I mean, they put out Brandon Graham's books. I read a lot of Image.
Yeah, a lot of it is Image, not exclusively, but very close.
Yeah.
The first comic book series that I'd read like front to back, and I was like, oh shit, was The Wicked and the Divine.
Right, which I have not read. I have not started yet, but on your recommendation, I will be.
Like, and I wasn't even somebody who was particularly interested in mythology, even. So
right.
That's just kind of an interesting layer to that. But no, I've read that. I read I like Aubrey Sitterson books.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that guy's cool. I fuck with that guy. If you're ever looking for some good podcasts that aren't ours, many years ago now, he did a couple guest episodes on a show called Fantasy Fiction, and they're fucking hilarious.
Nice.
I've read, honestly, Kieran Gillen and Jamie McElvey stuff I like, because they work together multiple times, so that's always nice.
Kieran Gillen's very good.
I read a good chunk of Rat Queens, but eventually kind of fell off that.
Rat Queens is fucking excellent. I know you and I have talked about that before.
Yeah.
That book is so funny, dude.
And like everybody else in the world, I had a friend who we did like a comic book trade just because we were catching up on some stuff. And he's like, do you want to try Saga? And I was like, sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, this is really fucking good, huh? Like,
Saga's one that I started, but, you know, it's funny because when I was getting into college, also, that was another one of those times where I checked in with comics. Right. That's when I started shifting into like a lot more of the indie stuff. Like that's when I was checking out the Paul Pope things that I mentioned already, and Ashwood, you know, people like that, creators like that. But what an expensive hobby to have when you're also trying to feed yourself during college.
That's
you know,
part of why I fell off a lot of it was I had picked up a few subscriptions that were like, you know, keeping up with it as it came out.
Right.
And despite the fact that I obviously have local comic shops, but I didn't have like ties to any, and I wasn't always like in the city that I live in now all the time. So I was like, the easiest way for me to get them is to get these in the mail so I don't miss any. And that just made it more expensive than it already was. Like I didn't read enough to justify getting it through the mail, but I didn't read so few that I just wanted to wait. So it was this thing where like there was no winning for me. And so I fell off some of it due to just not really wanting to have the responsibility to keep up with comic books all the time.
Right.
That's why I fell off of most of it. But you know, I'd like to get back into some of them, but and another one I'd be reluctant to not shout out is the book Sex Criminals is fucking hilarious.
Yep, that's very good.
It's so good. It's so good. Don't read it on the bus. But
don't pull a Corey and read it on the public transportation.
Don't read Sex Criminals or Rat Queens on public transit unless you want people to look at you weird.
I was reading something. I think I was reading Multiple Warheads, a Brandon Graham book, on an airplane and got uncomfortable. And then like when the flight was over, it was a short flight. I was reading it on like my Kindle or something, my Kindle Fire. This was a long time ago. And when the flight was over, the guy next to me was like, "Hey, what book were you reading? That looks pretty cool." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I mean, it wasn't like explicit, but there was definitely, you know, adult situations in it.
Right. Somebody got murdered in like in like a sexy way.
No, not even that. It was just like doing taxes and like buying car insurance and stuff. You know, adult situations.
Yeah, I had to go to AAA, and now this comic book is rated for having adult situations.
Renewing their auto registration. So one thing, I think maybe a little bit more on topic in terms of comics, one thing that I have always had an interest in, shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody considering we're doing an entire podcast about media spin-offs of a video game.
Right.
Is that I love weird media spin-offs of movies, video games, TV shows, whatever. Like when the comic book adaptation gets made. You know, the licensed tie-in comics, the licensed whatever. Like, there's a ton of that stuff. So, like, I'm actually looking at a shelf right here next to my desk that is full of, like, Udon's Street Fighter comics.
Right. Yeah, there's that. There's Shadow the Hedgehog boxing ring.
The Mortal Kombat 10 comics. Now, Shadow the Hedgehog boxing ring. There is a variant cover for the Sonic Mega Man Worlds
This can't be true. The thing you're about to say can't be true.
That is inspired by Smash Brothers, the cover set, and one of them is it is all in the Punch Out boxing ring style from like Smash Brothers. And Shadow the Hedgehog is in one of them. Is on one of the covers.
Honestly, humanity is good. You know what I mean? Sometimes humanity is just good. And, Shadow the Hedgehog is one of those reasons. That's all.
I also like the Tomb Raider comics, the old Top Cow ones, and then the new ones,
what?
based off the games. Top Cow was a publisher.
Top Cow?
Yeah, Top Cow Publishing. They did like Witchblade and The Darkness and Tomb Raider.
Nice.
But I love a media spin-off, give me an animated series. Because if I'm like into a franchise, like if I'm into like I was into Sonic as a kid, so of course I'm buying the comic books, right? And I'm watching the cartoons. I was into Mortal Kombat. Of course I'm watching the movies and wanting the comic books, and I never got them as a child because it's Mortal Kombat and it's violent and whatever else. But like now I'm an adult with adult money, and I spent a bunch of money getting the entire collection a couple years ago.
You can just do that.
Yeah.
Like you can buy old comic books you don't need. You can buy represses of single songs on vinyl that you don't need if you're me. Mm-hmm. You can get really into Gundam models if you want. Just spend all your money on that.
It's a good time.
Oh, also, fuck. I know this should have been in my comics thing, but the only series I own the full run of in the same format. Because, Wicked and the Divine, I have mostly trades for the first half, and then I got into it for the rest of it, so I have the rest of it in singles. But the only thing I have all in the same format is I have the special edition hardcover, all 12 volumes of Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin.
Hell yeah. That's rad, dude.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things. Like, they're all lined up together on the shelf, and I'm just like, yeah.
And see, even my Akira collection is like all mixed up between like different Dark Horse and Kodansha printings.
Yeah, just drop like $350 all at once on books, and you won't have that problem.
Well, I did to get all of those because they were out of print for a while. No, they weren't that expensive.
Now you can just buy them all in a big box.
I would be remiss if I didn't. We got to get into this. We got to talk about these Mortal Kombat comics, but I would be remiss if I didn't drop what was probably my favorite comic book series of all time. Very hard to get a hold of for a very long time until he came back to finish the series and do a collected trade of the entire run. Is Rob Schraub's Scud the Disposable Assassin.
What?
Scud the Disposable Assassin.
He's disposable?
Yes. All right.
Single-use plastics seem bad, though.
So this is set in the world in the future where people can buy assassination robots out of vending machines, right?
This guy looks nothing like I thought he was going to look like.
It's a hilarious, brilliantly written, very funny book made by Rob Schraub, collaborator with Dan Harmon, worked on Community, works on Rick and Morty.
Why does my brain compute this as looking like Invader Zim? I feel like that's incorrect.
There's a similarity in the art style, I think, but this is not. This is not Invader Zim.
This looks neat. I think I'm just caught out because this is so not what I thought this was going to look like when you said it.
It's excellent. So Scud, the titular assassin, right?
Disposable.
Becomes self-aware when he's trying to clean out this monster that is haunting this mannequin warehouse, right? Mannequin factory. So instead of killing the target, he shoots off this monster's arms and legs, takes it to a hospital, puts it on life support, and becomes a freelance assassin in order to pay for the medical bills. Because upon termination of the target, he would self-destruct.
Right.
I don't even know how to explain it. It just goes to insane places. It ends up the storyline ends up leading to angels trying to bring on the apocalypse, and it's just really, really excellent, really well written, really silly, but also just emotionally, surprisingly emotionally driven.
Right.
It's the one thing that I would recommend to anybody to read would be that book. That's
okay.
That's top one for me to read that series. Anyway, I just want to get that last recommendation out. The only comics I got time for now are Mortal Kombat comics, motherfucker.
Pew, pew, pew.
Why do I keep saying that, man?
What, motherfucker?
Yeah, I'm feeling
it's
because
it's fucking
today.
Cool, motherfucker. Fuck you.
You know what it is? I sat down this morning to read these issues. I cracked a fucking Diet Coke.
At 6 a.m.
I was 10, maybe.
Oh, we read them at about the same time because I read them after work.
I put on the Threshold Entertainment released Mortal Kombat More Combat soundtrack.
Yeah.
And listened to that fucking back to front as I read these 3 issues.
I started at the end.
It was on shuffle. I don't know. It was on shuffle.
You listened to a CD on shuffle?
Yeah.
Why?
Because in the complicated situation that I need to go through to listen to a CD in 2022, the shuffle option was already checked and I wasn't paying attention.
Fair enough.
You know how we play CDs in 2022 if we want them to sound good? We put them in our external CD drives attached to our computers, connected to our Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah. You know what we do? We want to get music to sound good. We buy a Crossley vinyl record player and play it through the iPod earbuds that you got with like a last gen Nano.
With the ones that don't even like fully fit in the ear.
If you want music to sound good in 2022, what you do is you take FLAC files and you put them on tape. And then you play them out of the old Saab from the movie Drive My Car.
Well, if you want the highest fidelity on your cassette tape, your source needs to be a FLAC file for sure. Otherwise, you're going to just get double loss.
What we do nowadays, if we want music to sound good, is we take one of those JBL pill-looking speakers and you put it inside of a cave and you put a can next to it, and then you go outside and you hold a can up to your ear.
Anyway, fucking ruled listening to some Mortal Kombat techno. I did skip the Sister Machine Gun song that was on the Defenders of the Realm episode.
You've had enough?
Yeah, I just remembered Stryker awkwardly fighting like scorpion zombies. Had a good time with it though, man. I don't think these aren't
the music.
Listening to the music while reading the comics. That's the thing. I got me in the mood. You know, it was that's a delightful way to spend a Sunday morning. I'm just gonna say it.
I spent them lying in bed on my side, reading them off of my phone, and then immediately took a nap after I was done. So not exactly what I would describe as the exact same sort of tone and mindset as you, but
sure,
you know,
you gotta get in the vibe.
It's true.
Blood and Thunder, issues 1 through 3. Let's just take a run through what happens in these.
So, you meet everybody a couple of times.
Sure.
Just in case you might end up forgetting who Scorpion is, or who Sonya Blade is, or who Liu Kang is, or who Hydro is.
Right.
Or whatever. You'll just meet everybody a bunch. And then people get ready for Mortal Kombat and also participate in it, and then some of them don't, and maybe somebody gets like captured or something, and there's some people who it doesn't seem like the fight starts out as being related to Mortal Kombat, and then it seems like maybe it is, and also Shang Tsung wants to win and whatever.
Yeah, playing a little fast and loose.
It's a bit of a mishmash.
The one thing I want to say of issue 1.
You have one issue?
It is almost a direct copy of the John Tobias Mortal Kombat Collector's Edition comic that was offered by Midway.
I mean, he was the editorial consultant, was he not?
Yes, but they went as far as to some of the panels look like just his panels traced over, which is not an issue. I mean, he was involved in the process. This was a licensed deal. I'm saying that because it's a pretty cool, that comic is hard to get your hands on. This one, not so hard. There were a lot of issues of this put out. So it is a pretty good way to kind of experience the John Tobias Mortal Kombat prequel comic that he did, with some changes. I mean, they've added things. They added Lance and the other U.S. Special Forces people. They added the whole thing about Sing and Sang and Siang. They took some liberties because they wanted to take a story in a different direction, but confused the hell out of me when I first read this because I had read the Tobias one. I think you can unlock the Tobias one in the crypt in maybe Mortal Kombat Deception or Deadly Alliance, and you can read every page of it, which is how I had first read that one. So this is just like a bizarro version of that comic.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. And as a podcast who's never going to cover anything official Mortal Kombat canon,
this is about the closest we're getting.
Kind of a workaround. A little bit of a cheat there, right? I mean, we did cover the story of Taven, but that was a special episode.
That was more, I would argue, about your honor as much as it was about Taven.
True, yes. Anyway, if you've read that one, the setup is very much the same here. I do like that this, much like issue 0, starts off with some Goro shit.
Yeah, Goro's just fucking around being the Prince of Pain.
Yeah, he's being a kind of a Karen to these guards, right?
You could phrase it that way. You could also say he's murdering them for doing a bad job.
But there's this one interesting twist that is not present in anything else, which is Shang Tsung coming in, like anything else Mortal Kombat, which is Shang Tsung coming in with this little book he's got called the Dao De Zhan, right?
Right.
I mean, it's It's clearly they're just like, I don't know, the Dao De Ching, but
Yeah,
we're gonna
but we can't
just
call it
change
that for reasons.
Slap a Mortal Kombat logo on the cover. It looks like he's just obsessed with like the Jeff Roven Mortal Kombat novel and carrying it around all the time because it's the same cover.
Who among us is not doesn't want to hear more about, like, he just wanted to learn about Crimmins, right?
Pretty much.
He was going to hire Crimmins, and that was sort of like the reference material. Like,
Crimmins hasn't replied to the invitation.
Crimmins won't. Shang Tsung is lying awake at night in his room, like, Crimmins won't answer my DMs.
Shamaboa won't come unless Crimmins comes. This is shaping up to be a bad party.
Jesse isn't here.
Pete said maybe.
Pete Wentz from Fallout Boy.
Yeah, so he's got this book, and he's like, I've made a breakthrough with the Dao De Jing, and the tournament might have to be postponed. Meanwhile, everyone's getting on the boat to go to the tournament, right?
So what's really funny about this, if you haven't read this, is so imagine you're throwing a birthday party, right?
Yeah.
And not only is it all planned, but everybody is, like, your best friends are driving over.
Sure.
And then you realize that you had an essay due the same night that you forgot about.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, fuck. Like, everybody's coming over, but, no, shit. Like, I have to do this other thing. And I don't know, like, Goro, fuck. Like, like,
I think it's more like he's like, I don't know. I know we got this party, but like, I just kind of want to stay in. I'm really into this book. It's called The Da Vinci Code, and I just can't put it down.
It's called the King James Bible. A lot of people don't know this about Shang Tsung, but he's Christ pilled.
Fuck. But I think this is what happens when they're taking a pre-existing story, they're taking the Tobias comic, and then they're working in all these other plot threads so that they can go in other directions outside of the games, right?
Right.
So they're just like shoehorning in this scene where he's got this book that he's obsessed with. Meanwhile, Johnny is boarding the leaky boat, getting ready to set sail. And the boat looks cool.
Yeah.
Looks like it always does, right?
It looks like the Mortal Kombat boat.
And like his agent is there and someone else, and they're trying to like get him to like read the script for a movie, and he's like, no, this is the movie.
The Elden Ring adaptation is shooting on the 17th or whatever the fuck. And first of all, I make that joke, but let's be realistic about it. If they ever adapt a FromSoft game, the instant thing that they will get wrong is just casting random action man.
Probably.
And not like a gross, gnarly, fucked up kind of looking guy.
I mean, they'll cast Timothy Chalamet. They always do.
Well,
right?
okay, but if they do that, I'm fine with it. Like,
that guy's in everything. That guy's going to be the next James Bond. Just you wait.
Timothy Chalamet, if you like Mortal Kombat, come to the show.
Come hang out at Corey's house. Anyway. So meanwhile, Johnny's getting on the boat. Sonya and the boys are chasing after Kano in, what do they call it? The Special Forces battle van.
They do call it the battle van. And
Yeah,
Kano's
like,
on like a motorcycle, and he's like, actually, fuck this. And I was not clear on the logistics of this. I feel like the panels don't communicate this well. But he turns around, starts driving towards the battle van, and then jumps the van and gets away.
Yes. Same scene from the Tobias comic, but less boys in that one. Lance is not there. And then he just like drives his motorcycle. That's funny because he somehow gets on top of the van, and then the panel describes him as landing from the top of that van to the top of another car and then onto the road.
But the way that they're imagining this is like that it's got the sloped nose of like a Ford Windstar, as if he could like drive up the front, and the battle van doesn't really look like that.
No,
I don't understand how this is. I know it doesn't fucking matter, but like it's just such a weird thing to do.
Either he can do like that Mach 5 jump thing from Speed Racer, or maybe the battle van was supposed to be one of those ramp cars from Fast and the Furious 6, maybe?
Well, yeah,
anyway,
you know the one.
The art doesn't add up. But he then just drives his motorcycle straight off the dock and swims to catch up with the boat, and that works out. Meanwhile, Sonya and her boy Lance
we need to go get the U.S. Special Forces battle boat.
Action figures sold separately and chase after him. We cut over to Liu Kang at the Temple of the Order of Light, talking to his master, head of the super secret White Lotus Society. They always call it the Super Secret White Lotus Society.
They say the phrase Super Secret White Lotus Society so many times, there's no way that it's not a society that everybody knows about, but it's just called
Right.
that. That's the name in full.
Super Secret is part of the official title.
Yeah, like it is the
Right.
Super Secret White Lotus Society TM.
It's on the back of all of their crew jackets.
Yeah, like they have bomber jackets that they got made, or like Letterman jackets, whatever you're partial to. And
Their official email is Super Secret White Lotus Society at supersecretwhitelotussociety.com.
the boys at Super Secret White Lotus Society.com.
Shh, don't tell anyone at.
We're rebranding.
And he's like, hey, Master, I, Liu Kang, want to represent the temple.
And they're like, so
In Mortal
the
Kombat.
important distinction about Liu Kang here
Yeah.
is they've kung laoed him. By which I mean he's third fiddle to Sing and Sang, who can merge into a bigger, more powerful, more mohawked man.
Well, I suppose depending on the state, he is either second or third.
Yeah, and he wants to go just to like prove himself
Yeah.
anyway, which again is extreme kung lao energy.
Yeah, big Kung Lao energy.
Yeah.
And the Master's like, nah, fuck you, we've got somebody better, but you can go if you want, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Master's kind of like, he's like, sorry, Sing and Sang as Siang are the greatest warrior we've trained since the great Kung Lao, which is big talk. And that's got to kind of hurt Liu Kang's ego a little bit.
Maybe he has less of an ego just by virtue of like he's not been the guy this whole time.
But he has been in America, which is interesting. I guess that was early Liu Kang canon because they did that in the movie also.
Yeah, he lived in Seattle and got really into grunge.
And had that neon lit apartment.
Yeah.
From there, we just kind of cut to him on the boat, and he's hearing a ruckus down
Cut
below.
to the ruckus boat.
And he like backflips down, and he's like, whoever's fighting now has to deal with Liu Kang. Because, again, everyone says their name every chance they get.
I'm here, Liu Kang, the king of Kangs. Just like Jesus Christ.
Okay, so when I was getting into Marvel Comics, I forget what I was reading, but there was something that featured the Hank Pym...
Yeah.
Yes, the Hank Pym. I'm trying to think of it as the Hank Pym or the Scott Lang Ant-Man.
Does it matter?
It doesn't. It ultimately doesn't matter. But this character was very prominent in this story arc that I was jumping in midway, and I wasn't familiar with the character, the look of the character and everything. And no one ever said the character's name in the book. It took me like 3 issues to figure out who it was.
Like they never said, "Oh, that's Ant-Man."
No one ever said, "What do you think, Hank?" or "What do you think, Ant-Man?"
What
or
do you
anything.
think, Paul?
And he never said anything like, "Well, if you ask Ant-Man, my opinion is," like an identifier. So I understand the need to like reestablish who the characters are for new readers or people coming in.
But they do it maybe too much because they look fairly distinct.
I feel like one time per issue is enough.
I agree.
But this was like...
every time they spoke.
What if somebody just like finds a page of this? I want to make sure they know who's on the page every single time.
Yeah, honestly, they talk like Elmo.
Yes.
Elmo's allowed to do that because he's 3 years old.
Right.
Whereas these are all just grown adults.
Elmo's also like worried about his own personal brand, but this is Mortal Kombat.
Elmo's not doing that because he's a baby. Elmo is doing that because he's like trying to get big on TikTok.
100%, yeah. And Elmo is actually big on TikTok. I've seen a lot of Elmo on there. I don't know what's up with my algorithm.
What is up with what's the TOS? Why is he allowed to use that app?
Elmo?
Yeah, he's 3.
Well, I
What's
think
the
maybe
TOS?
I don't think Elmo's doing it. I think other people are putting clips of him on it. That's a workaround.
Did Elmo say that was okay?
Presumably.
What if this whole time Elmo didn't know that he was being filmed?
So in this, you're imagining a scenario where Elmo is is an individual.
Well, Elmo is, but okay.
A monster.
I don't know why we have to imagine this.
A little sweet red monster who has been 3 years old for 40 years.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't see the problem.
He was born on a super leap year.
He was born in the same year like E.T. was born, but E.T. was like, if you were born in the morning,
Right.
you stayed young forever, and if you were born when E.T. was born, you just look like a fucked up old man for the rest of your life. People don't know this. E.T.'s only like 6 years old.
Remember when Jason was on and we were talking about E.T. staplers?
Oh, how can I forget?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, there's I don't know if you saw this press release earlier today, but they're actually coming out with a new line of ET office products.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But it's all built for working from home.
Okay.
So you can get like an ET ring light. That's just a big finger, right? and that's the only one I thought of, but I thought it was pretty funny. So,
oh, I hate you.
what, did you not think I had one? I always have one.
Anyway, Liu Kang's going to go check out the ruckus, and it turns out that Kano and Johnny Cage are bringing the ruckus downstairs, right, in the cargo hold or whatever.
Ooh,
So he jumps in to help. Johnny's, I don't know, we see Johnny like do the split punch to his nuts, and then he also like kicks him in the face and says something like lights, camera, traction. Just terrible joke.
Lights, camera, traction control with the all-new GMC Sierra.
And Liu Kang and Johnny Cage kind of bond over punching Kano a bunch, right?
Oh, man, I fucked up. It should have been the GMC battle van. Whatever.
You got there. Meanwhile, up top, we see like a shadowy figure watching what's going on, and it is Sub-Zero and Sub-Zero's little friend, Hydro.
Brought to you by Monster Energy.
Hydro's back. We saw Hydro in Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Oh, yeah.
This is what Hydro's from. Hydro's from this.
Yeah, no,
Hydro
I remembered Hydro from this. I forgot Hydro was in the other one.
I know you know this. I'm saying this for the listener. Hydro looks identical to Sub-Zero almost.
Oh, wait,
certainly.
actually, I've just thought of this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for getting you off. I know why they're saying everybody's name all the time. They made Hydro and Sub-Zero look literally the exact same.
Yes.
And they were worried that kind of level of confusion was just going to trickle down.
Okay.
Like Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are famously both human men.
Right.
So they needed to make sure that we could tell them apart.
Similarly shirtless with black pants and like that's it.
Yeah.
Different hairstyles.
Yeah, but like maybe Liu Kang's just trying something new that day. Put on sunglasses.
Right.
Now who's to say who's who?
Yeah.
But the problem with Hydro and Sub-Zero is that the art does not communicate who is who.
Not
at
well
all.
enough. I mean, there are slight differences, like Hydro's got swords on his back, but you don't see that in every panel. And when there's panels of just their heads, no idea who's fucking talking. I don't even think the
writers know.
The letterer knew. Like I think they got a couple speech bubbles mixed up, but it doesn't matter. They're watching the fight, and then they're talking about Scorpion, and then Sub-Zero's throat starts burning, and then Scorpion shows up, and they're like, "Oh shit, Scorpion's here."
Guys, I need a Tums. Scorpion's here.
If you've listened to our last episode on the comics, you know the deal. Scorpion's here. He's a Spectre. He wants to kill Sub-Zero so he can rest in...
If hell was cold, would his throat get cold?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Well, no, maybe not his, because he's already cold, right?
Oh, true. I shouldn't have said cold. Wet. What if hell was wet?
Yeah, he's just like, oh, my throat, it's so wet right now.
I got so much spit in my mouth. Oh, man. I just really gotta spit because Scorpion's nearby.
But so this little tale of Scorpion recounting the story of Sub-Zero killing him, getting the upper hand, freezing him, and like smashing him, like that checks out. That tracks with like what we saw in Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins. Like that's almost the exact same setup there, and the whole idea of him now being a Spectre who wants revenge. Defenders of the Realm touched on that also. Like they're still staying pretty true to early Mortal Kombat canon. Scorpion does tell Sub-Zero that he can still be killed.
Yep.
And his soul will be sent to oblivion, but it's worth the risk if he can like get his revenge.
Castle Oblivion from Kingdom Hearts. And
I'm just saying, Sub-Zero's already clearly scared of you. Sorry, laughing a little bit at your Kingdom Hearts reference.
No worries. So yeah, the interesting thing, let's see if I can pick up where your thoughts are going while you laugh at my hilarious Kingdom Hearts joke. So what's interesting about it is that Scorpion keeps ramping up the pressure despite the fact that Sub-Zero clearly already hates this situation and doesn't totally know what to do about it.
Right.
Like he already feels like he fucked up and he doesn't seem to have a solution to this problem.
Right. The Spectre is chasing him down. His throat burns every time he's around. That's just going to get annoying and uncomfortable from time to time. Like if you're in the middle of like a nice meal, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying is Scorpion then says, but don't worry, you can actually kill me if you try hard enough. Like don't give him that information. Like, just let him be afraid of you.
Yeah, like
is what I'm saying.
Like you're saying that Scorpion's giving the game up too early because Sub-Zero
Yes.
felt hopeless, and now
Right.
all you've told him is, no, I can totally be killed.
Yeah, I don't have to be hopeless. There's a chance. I can.
Sub-Zero does seem to think that Scorpion cannot die,
Right.
and now he doesn't have to think that anymore.
No. Anyway, he like takes off his mask and like shows his fire powers.
Has
and
a
stuff.
cool skull head.
Looks great.
He looks like Ghost Rider.
Art is fantastic in this. I don't think we touched on that.
No, this is consistent throughout all of it, just as a baseline. Aggressively
Yes.
90s art style on all these like just jagged, chiseled muscle freaks.
Yeah.
But also,
Dude, some of the stuff we're gonna see later, the muscles. I mean, it's
muscles that the human body just simply doesn't actually have.
it's more like, and I'm sorry that I'm gonna say this, but like, there's I think a smoke drawing in one of the later issues.
Yeah.
It just looks like he's just covered in tumors.
Well, he's got his muscles are bulging.
It's like there are way more of them.
Yeah,
than-
he's really muscular. He's got new ones that they're.
Yeah,
God is test driving some of these.
we'll talk about it when we get to that issue because you're going to be the one who brings it up. I guarantee it.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're going to notice how ridiculous it looks and have to comment on it.
No, yeah, but also it's very colorful, which is fun. Like its way of communicating fantastical seems to be there's 6 billion colors,
Right.
which I like.
Yeah.
It's fun to look at.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It is. It's
a great like critic of like visual art because I don't make it like when it comes
Right.
to like hand drawn whatever.
Oh yeah.
So
I can draw floor plans. I can't letter them very well, but I can draw them.
yeah, if you got a guy who knows how to write letters but can't draw floor plans, you guys are gonna make some really fucking banging floor plans.
I do a little loose architectural sketching, some watercolors, but I'm not a particularly
I'm gonna
fine
impress this client by giving them a blueprint that I did in watercolor.
artist. Two separate skills. I'm describing two separate things I can do.
Yeah, but you could do them at the same time.
Sure, yeah. I took architectural rendering classes. I can do some marker drawing.
I took architectural watercolors.
That's not a lie. That's actually a technique that is used.
It is?
Sure, before like CAD software and 3D rendering technology was around, you would commission artists to do
Like a concept piece?
concept marker and watercolor
Oh, that's cool.
drawings of the yeah.
We should go back.
It is cool. People still do it. Anyway,
Donate $6,000 to ko-fi.com/mkpodquest. Neil will draw an entire floor plan for Shang Tsung's Island.
that would be fun. I would do that for $6,000.
No more, no less.
Exactly $6,000, and I get 12 months to do it in.
I want $500 a month.
Anyway, art is really good. Shout out to Patrick Rollo for those pencils, Scott Reed for those inks, Steve Biasi, Bobby Ray, and Larry Welch for the lettering.
Yeah, when your lettering needs 2 dudes, you're going fucking sicko mode. You're going goblin mode because Sub-Zero does call Scorpion a goblin at one
Yeah, he
point.
does. Anyway, so once Scorpion fucks off, he leaves like a fire behind, and Hydro uses his water powers to put the fire out,
Yeah, it's called being responsible.
which was tight. But then one of the two blue Lin Kuei ninjas
Who's to say?
gets like tapped on the back by a long metallic robotic arm, right?
And you're like, oh, I know who this is, and then you don't.
No, you don't. Because this is not Jackson Briggs. This is everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character, Lance.
Lance Henriksen.
Yes.
That's a real guy, but I don't know what I know him from.
Lance is what he's like. He's got like a military cut, like
Jumpsuit
orange hair and one robot arm.
that has electricity powers.
and he's wearing the Wing Commander flight suit, right?
Yeah, he seems like a real piece of shit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Lance in this, as we'll soon learn, this is Sonya's partner. This is not Wexler from Defenders of the Realm. This is not
Gano killed a lot of her partners if this just keeps happening.
This is not Bill Van Hoven from the Mortal Kombat 95 novel. This is Lance. This is Sonya's partner.
For my previous joke, can I swap out Lance Henriksen with Lance Bass?
Yeah, Lance Bast. You got it, dude. Okay.
Thanks.
So Sonya and Lance are here, and they're like, hey, we're looking for this dude, Kano. Where is he? Battle pose, right? And Sub-Zero's like, I'm from the Lin Kuei. We don't owe you. We don't have to help you with shit. And then everyone just gets to the island, right? We're just on Shang Tsung's island. Shang Tsung does the intro. This is Goro. I don't know if he's mentioned it, but in one of these issues, we did learn that he's the son of King Gorbak. So King Gorbak exists in this universe. They got that right.
Which means that his brother is canon as well.
Sure, Durok must be around somewhere.
Dinosaur Hunter, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep, with the big egg.
Huge egg. He sits on it all the time.
And, I don't know, Shang Tsung's like, let's all go get breakfast. I think we have one more person coming to the tournament, and then the last page is a splash page of, like, Raiden showing up at the tournament, right? That's the end of issue 1. All set up, but also all killer. No filler in that one.
Right.
Issue 2 is titled Test Your Might. We open with Test Your Might from the Mortal Kombat 1 game. Liu Kang trying to, like, smash a big stone brick, right?
Right.
And he's hanging out with Johnny Cage. They're kind of bantering, and then Goro comes up and smashes the stone, and he's like, I'm Goro, fuck you guys. And Johnny Cage calls him King Kong, and then everyone's summoned away because the tournament has started. Fight number 1 out of 2. We're going to get 2 whole, like, tournament fights before they just abandon the premise.
Before it gets really muddled and kind of confusing.
Yeah. Because, again, just because it's Mortal Kombat doesn't mean it always has to be a tournament.
Honestly, I don't know if anybody's ever done like a survey of this, but I would say more often than not, it is not a tournament.
You and I actually did that on an earlier episode.
I don't know if anybody's done this. Maybe we did.
It's a tournament in Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and then in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks when they're repeating 1 and 2, and then in Mortal Kombat 9 when they're repeating 1 and 2, and that's it.
So it's usually not a tournament.
It is more often not a tournament, and in fact, it's only ever been 2 tournaments out of all of the games.
Yeah, it's the same one. They just keep doing it.
If I'm wrong about that, let me know. I am open to changing my opinion, but I do think that this is mostly not a series about tournaments.
If I'm ever wrong, don't tell me.
Right.
Actually, I don't want to know.
Do not tweet at Mr. Corey Price.
I'll block you instantly if you tell me I'm wrong about anything.
So our first Mortal Kombat tournament fight is between everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character, Lance, and Kano.
I'm so glad that we keep having new names to add to our list of everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character. Insert random guy.
Yeah. Lance right away uses his robot arm to, like, I don't know, hit and electrocute Kano. But then Kano's just fine and rips Lance's heart out.
Yeah, and also lasers him, maybe? I couldn't tell what was supposed to be blood and what was supposed to be laser.
The eye certainly gets red at one point, but interesting, I read one of the letter columns in this, and the editor was basically like, someone was like, is there going to be blood in this? And the editor was like, well, short answer, no, because then newsstands don't want to carry our comic book. We have to be careful. So there's not a lot of blood in this comic book. There is more blood in the Street Fighter book than in this one.
Yeah, that's just because they've got, I don't actually know what my joke is for that.
Okay, well, we can just move on if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I think that's probably for the best.
But this is the instance of this universe's Sonya Blade having her partner killed by Kano. This is it.
Although I did get the impression that maybe this had even happened to her previously, because she already really hates this guy.
Right, but up until then, even in like the issue 0, all the talk was like, I just want to capture this wanted criminal, and then we're going to go after the rest of the Black Dragon. Like, seems to me like the moment that made it personal for her.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because then she like goes apeshit and starts like attacking guards, and then Goro just comes and grabs her and says, no, we're going to stick you in timeout, right?
Right.
Oh, she did fight Kano. She did fuck him up some. She did the leg grab. She slammed his head into the ground and apparently knocked him out, because later we get a little panel of him regaining consciousness.
This is also another instance of Sonya's sort of introduction to this just being intervening rather than...
Right.
Sonya is often, I feel like, the crux of the format being broken. That's interesting. That's just an observation.
That is true, because she was not invited. I mean, I think there was no setup in here of Kano like leading Sonya Blade to the island.
No, Kano just got on that boat because he needed to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Right. And Sonya, when she gets to the island, she like tries to like big time Shang Tsung and be like, I'm with U.S. Special Forces looking for a fugitive, etc. And he's basically like, oh, I don't recognize your authority on my island. If you want to stay here, you have to enter the tournament.
She's like, I work for the United States. And he's like, okay. And
yeah, he's like, I'm between realms right now.
Bro, you can't even talk to me. I'm between realms. Don't even talk to me right now.
Right.
Don't talk to me until I've had my realms.
New t-shirt, dude.
No, that has to be on the fucking mug.
Yeah, we're doing that on the mug and t-shirt. We're doing that on everything. Don't talk. I'm typing it in Discord so I remember.
It's got like this sparkle emoji on it.
Anyway, there's gonna be some wacky Sonya shit at the end of this, by the way.
Yeah.
At the end of this story arc, but we'll get there. Our next up, we've got our second Mortal Kombat official sanctioned fight of the series and last surprise between Sub-Zero and Grum.
Grum.
Now, if you don't know who Grum is, you better fucking learn.
God damn it.
Grum is... So picture Goro, right?
Sure, got it.
What if Goro kind of built his body more for stamina than outright muscle-bound madness?
Right.
So he's a little bit more kind of svelte in that particular respect, but he makes up for the lack of muscle by having 2 extra arms. And I know what you're thinking. Goro does already have 2 extra arms. You'd be right in saying that. But what I'm saying is take Goro, the titular Prince of Pain, 4 arms, right?
Right.
What if he had 2 additional arms?
That'd be tight. But question.
Yeah.
When you have 6 arms, what do you do with them?
So they actually had to cut this scene for time. In the comic book, it was getting too long to read, they decided.
Sure.
So it's a deleted scene where he, they don't tell you this, but he used to work at Haagen-Dazs. And he was hogging up all those ice creams because he's eating 6 of them all at the same time.
Shout out to Jade.
Shout out to Jade for making the world's greatest art of a Mortal Kombat character most people haven't heard of, eating just an exceptional amount of ice cream. He seems like a real sweet guy when he's eating the ice cream, and then he tries to kill somebody.
Jade, famous for the They Made Another One podcast artwork, and our...
You're cratering her reputation.
Our Quan Chi Morsels for Daddy Twitter banner, long before that, drew a commission from me of our boy Grum here eating 6 ice cream cones.
Shout out to having 6 arms, and also separately shout out to Jade.
But in this comic book, he is not eating 6 ice cream cones. He is swinging 6 different nunchucks.
He's breaking 6 ice cream bones.
He's the ruler of Katala, a place that has never been mentioned in anything else Mortal Kombat as far as I know. He's fighting Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero just kind of freezes him and kicks his ass real quick, because it turns out when you're swinging 6 different sets of nunchucks in your 6 arms, you're kind of really leaving your center open, you know?
Right.
So he just got hit and went down, and that was that. Now, I don't think he died. I don't know that we're going to see him again, but I don't think he died. And Goro's there, and he's like, oh, man, that was my friend, Grum. I was looking forward to breaking his neck in battle, but I guess he's out of the tournament now. So, hey, Sub-Zero, come with me. And he takes Sub-Zero away, too, much like he did with Sonya Blade, right? And we find out that they've been taken to a cell where Sonya is chained up, and Sing and Sang are also chained up, but they are still able to somehow fuse together into Siang.
Yeah, it's an escape tactic.
Right. It didn't work because their arms were still cuffed at the end of that.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Meanwhile, Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are running around looking for Sing and Sang when they run into Hydro, who's looking for Sub-Zero, and they fight for a minute before guards come and take them away. Also, finally, Jesus Christ, Kano wakes up from being unconscious. He's sneaking around Shang Tsung's area. This is after a scene where we see Shang Tsung looking at his book.
Yeah, could you remind me what that's called, please? Just so everybody's keeping up here.
The Dao De Zhan.
Yeah.
Jeff Roven's Mortal Kombat novel is what we're going to call it from now on. So Shang Tsung was looking at his book, and Raiden busted in and asked why Shang Tsung was halting the tournament. Shang Tsung is like, well, I'm just really into this book, man. It's a real page turner.
God, this plot line is so funny that like he's like, guys, we have to cancel the party. I have to answer 7 riddles.
Yeah. He's trying to open this book, right?
I have to answer a riddle for every one of Grum's arms.
And
don't ask where the 7th went.
One other appendage of your choosing.
Leg.
I'd go with head. That's an appendage.
That's not. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so he's reading a lot.
Because if he unlocks the power, its secrets will assure victory for Shao Kahn, who wants to invade Earthrealm at the end of this tournament. But he's got the fucking tournament on pause. It does not make sense. And I don't think that it will. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it will make sense.
It is. I'm not really that worried about this making sense.
But meanwhile, everyone's been locked up. Kano's creeping around Shang Tsung's area. He sees the book. He steals it and tries to find a place to like look through it, but he ends up just in Goro's room, and Goro kicks his ass and also drags him to the cell. So now everybody's locked up.
Yeah, so this has gone quickly from a fighting tournament to everybody's in jail.
Yeah.
Some kind of fight jail.
And then Shang Tsung just goes to Goro and he's like, hey, you know that book I was reading? Have you seen it anywhere? And no, Goro has not. So everyone's locked up and afraid of what's going to happen. And on the last page, we learn that Sub-Zero's neck is burning and Scorpion is here.
Guys, I'm getting that acid reflux again. It's either all those chicken wings I ate. I don't know why he talks like this. Nobody does. Or the Scorpio man is here.
The Scorpio is in my throat, stinging me. Issue 3 is titled "The Art of War."
Just like the book. I get it. It's just like the book, dude.
This shit's getting meta because we're like reading a book about books named after other books, dude.
What is this, book talk?
Holy shit.
Get it? Because it's also like TikTok for books, but also talking about books.
We're going to get on, I'm going to cut clips out of this and get us on Book Talk. I'm not going to do that.
I'm going to cut clips of this and get us on Jimmy Fallon.
If anybody else wants to do the work for me, but then send them to me so I can post them.
We won't pay you. That's not true.
Yeah.
We will. That's not true.
We are looking for a social media manager. You will be paid in exposure.
You'll get paid in every once in a while. A cool donation happens from our fantastic listeners, and like you get to do a cool thing.
Yeah. Been a minute since one of those has happened.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Issue 3. It opens with Scorpion just hitting Sub-Zero with his spike ball that he has instead of a kunai. And then being basically like, you're at my mercy, motherfucker. But then he just frees Hydro and bamfs out of there.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, but basically Sub-Zero says, he'd rather free you so that you can protect me than allow me to die at the hand of anybody else. And I'm thinking, Scorpion, you had him on the fucking ropes. He was chained up in a prison cell. You could have just ended him here and like what is it? Is it because he has to like face him in battle? It has to be like an honorable victory that he didn't do.
Yeah, I think that's the caveat.
I think it must be. Because Hydra's immediate suggestion is, hey, while everyone else is chained up, let's fucking murder them. And Sub-Zero says, no, that's not the Lin Kuei way. Which, yes, it is. That is absolutely the Lin Kuei way. They are a tribe of assassins. Like, that's what they do. I don't think they really care how they do it. They just do it. They kill people. So it's just weird to me that Sub-Zero is like, no, I'm going to show mercy, right? Especially Bihan, right?
Right.
Doesn't really track, but whatever. So then instead, they just free everybody, including Kano. But then Goro shows up before they can all escape.
Yeah, Kano
right?
in this weird, like, ambiguous limbo where in all the group shots he's being presented as, like, part of the team, but he's still objectively, like, not a good guy.
Yeah, and we get, like, inner thoughts from him. Like, he's like, I better make sure I just get out of this alive. I gotta go find that book that I stole and take a look through it, right?
I gotta go see a man about a horse.
Yeah. But before we get a fight, we cut to Shang Tsung's quarters where he is talking to Shao Kahn through the Warrior King's orb, right?
Yeah.
And, like, Shao Kahn's like, you've halted the tournament and you're fucking around with this book. Like, what's going? Let's get a move on here. I want to conquer Earthrealm. And Shang Tsung's like, well, there's been complications because he doesn't want to admit that he lost the book, right? He doesn't want to, like, tell the boss he, like, lost the key to the mailbox.
Yeah, he's like, I fucked up.
Or forgot to mail that package that needed to go out that night, you know?
Yeah.
So he just smashes the orb and he's like, I'm sick of serving this guy. But if I find my book, I can unlock a power that can make me stronger than him, right?
Right.
And then I don't have to serve him anymore. It's classic Shang Tsung, right? Plotting against Shao Kahn. Classic. Bruce Locke in action right here.
It's what he does.
It's what he does.
Kind of his whole brand.
But from there we cut back downstairs. Siang has gone all fused up and he attacks Goro. Sorry, Siang. Pardon me.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to break that habit. Siang attacks Goro and Goro literally just like pulls Siang apart back into Sing and Sang. And then like smashes their heads together.
It's so weird that they established this gimmick of two super powerful dudes that merge into one hyper powerful dude, and they spend most of their time getting ripped back into two people, or just not doing anything. It's such a weird inclusion.
It must have been Dragon Ball Z inspired. It's
It
the only
has
thing
to
I
be.
can
They
think
also
of.
must have had like a bigger idea for it, and then just it couldn't really fit.
Right.
Because why else have this guy?
Seeing will return, much like James Bond. Seeing does return in future
Much like
issues. He's
Final
not
Neo will
out.
return.
He's not like dead. You know what I mean? Even though Goro says he's dead, he's not dead. I don't know I just know he shows up later. I don't know the context or circumstances that surround it. But yeah, kind of wild to see him just like rip the two dudes apart. Not gory or anything like that.
I didn't realize it was that easy.
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be. Like, that feels... And this is Goro. Like, he was, like, Siang was sent to kill Goro. Wouldn't have worked out. Wouldn't have been able to do it, right? We just saw Siang get fucking pantsed by Goro.
Is that what they call it when people who merge get ripped apart? You got pants.
I don't know. It's the word that popped into my head, so I had to say
No, I like it. I think it's funny.
He was just so dismissive. He's like, whatever.
If people do a fusion dance and then get a swirly, they spin so fast they become two people again.
That's actually true. That happened in Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah, everybody knows that. It's that one where the two people that merged together were... what's the funniest two people to merge together? the little pig guy.
Oolong and Mr. Popo.
Sure, I don't know who that guy is, but
Yeah.
it was Chi-Chi, right? And also a car.
And there's definitely art of that on Reddit and Deviant.
Probably.
Anyway, I'm just thinking of the classic Reddit thread, Dragon's fucking cars.
Oh yeah, all time great.
Yeah. Anyway, Goro rips Sing and Sang apart, and then Raiden pops in, and he's like, "All right, let the thunder roll, motherfucker," and he starts fighting Goro.
Yeah.
And that was an actual quote, minus the motherfucker part, of a Raiden one-liner in this, and I'm hoping there are more, because Raiden saying, "let the thunder roll" before he fights is just very funny to me.
Right. Yeah.
And he's doing a real good job of kicking Goro's ass, right? And then it inspires everybody else to first rethink all of their life decisions that led them to this point, but then also decide to all gang up and help fight Goro too.
Right.
And Shang Tsung's kind of present for this. He's like watching from above somehow. And Goro's doing okay. Like, he's handling himself, you know? But then something weird happens, and Goro just gets teleported away. Gone.
Happens to the best of us.
Just gone.
Who
And Shang Tsung's like...
who among us hasn't been teleported away in the middle of something very important?
Well, sometimes you get your own miniseries and you have to take a break, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Shang Tsung's like, "What the fuck did you do, Raiden?" And Raiden's like, "I didn't do that. I thought you did it." And he's like, "No, I didn't do it. I thought you did it." And then Raiden's like,
I
"Well,
didn't do
fuck
that. I
this.
thought
I'm
you
gonna
did."
I'm gonna destroy your dungeon." And he like blows a hole in the ceiling or something, and then like summons wind, because I guess that's part of his power set in here also.
Yeah. Fujin was there.
And just like blows all of the characters out into the sky.
He does do that.
With Shang Tsung then being like, "I'm gonna find all of you and hunt you all down.
I'll get you next time, Gadget."
And that's the end of issue 3. That is, we are halfway through Blood and Thunder.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the art a lot, but the art, just to reiterate, is consistently just good 90s muscle cheese.
It's very good. I don't think I gave all the full credits at the top because, again, we did these back to back. So I just want to restate that this was written by Charles Marshall, penciled by Patrick Rollo, inked by Scott Reed, Steve Biasi, Bobby Ray, and Larry Welch, depending on the issues, lettered by Dave Lamphere. And, John Tobias was the editorial consultant, at least on issue 1.
I wish we had John Tobias as an editorial consultant.
Well, we'll tweet at him.
He would just say all of our shit was wrong, though, because it's... none of it
He only did that once.
None of it counts.
Nah, he's into it. He showed respect for Conquest in that Shang Tsung episode. He knows. He's into it. Anyway, that's it. That's half of Blood and Thunder. Next comic book episode is going to be on Goro, Prince of Pain. We're going to find out where Goro got teleported off to and why.
Every time you say Prince of Pain, I keep thinking you're about to say the word principality, and it never goes all the way, and it's just... I need to get that out of my brain.
Goro, Princess of Power, coming soon to Netflix.
Because, like, that's not even... that'd be cool. But... Anyway, yeah, that, you know what? I'm just gonna, that thought's over. Yeah. I think your thing was good, and I'm just gonna, yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it. Art was good. Art was very fun. Again, 90s comics.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not setting...
Rob
you know,
Liefeld ass.
I'm gonna go ahead and say more consistent than his.
Sure. But just if you're picturing that as like the vibe-ish, my understanding is that me saying that is correct. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Michael Turner light, somebody who definitely looked at Michael Turner art and
Michael Turner Overdrive.
and Jim Lee style, 90s art, muscly dudes, curvy women, everyone's a babe.
Everyone's huge.
It was the style. And I had a lot of fun reading these. And I'm looking forward to reading more. These are fun to talk about because they're fucking weird.
Yeah, I can't wait for the 4th issue because that's famously the one where they did curvy men and bulky ladies.
I wonder if we'll get some curvy men later on.
I think that's untapped resources. The closest we got was Grum.
Maybe in the Kung Lao special. Maybe at the very end, actually.
Is there a Kung Lao special?
Yeah, I said that on the last episode. Not the great Kung Lao, modern Kung Lao.
Right, but I'm just drawing attention to it. We love Kung Lao here, so.
We do. We love all Kung Laos. We love one more than the others.
Yeah, we don't love them all equally.
Right.
But
if you're a great Kung Lao or a
good one,
less great or a good Kung Lao, we stan you on this podcast. Do people still say that? Stan?
Yeah.
People still stan things?
Are people still saying words? Yeah, generally.
Or has stan been canceled?
What does that mean?
I think it means it's time for us to go. We've been recording a lot of stuff today.
Yeah, it's time to go.
Let's do a proper outro, Corey. What do you got going on?
I have a podcast. I have another. So I have the one, right? They made another one with Mitch and Liam.
Sure.
You hear about it all the time.
Yeah, you do.
It is sequels and reboots and remakes and all that kind of stuff. So this week we watched the one and only Looney Tunes Back in Action, which you did hear about last episode.
Hell yeah!
That's why it was on my mind. And that's with our buddy Chaz as well. So
shout out to Chaz.
So if you're looking for some Brendan Fraser talk, that's the place to get it. They made another on Twitter. They made another one, all your podcast services. In the coming weeks,
oh shit, it's the announcement.
I will have a second thing to plug.
Yeah, you will.
I'll reveal it then, but I'm sure if you think about shit that I tend to talk about, you could probably come up with some good educated guesses.
This is not something that I'm involved with. This is a brand new Corey project.
Yeah, so if you somehow feel like you need to hear me talking more, you can soon. I
recommend it. I'll be checking it out. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, if Neil's willing to continue putting up with me despite doing this on a weekly basis, why wouldn't you?
Can I tell you something? Can I be honest with
you?
Yeah. This is my favorite time of the week, dude.
I really like doing it. I have a great time.
It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to reading all these comics with you.
Yeah, man. Also, take that, Neil's D&D group. You guys fucking suck.
They know where they stand.
Find me on Twitter at @FuckNeilD&D group.
Do you guys finish off your plugs? We got a little off the rails.
Mr. Corey Price Twitter. I think that's it.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at FinalNeil. Follow my Retro Gaming Instagram account. I am cooking up some new stuff to do over there at FinalNeil Retro.
We got projects, baby.
Just need to find the time. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at MKPodquest. Visit our website, mkpodquest.com. You can find links to all the podcast services, the YouTube channel for the enhanced version of the podcast, the ultimate version, if you will. Links to our coffee page if you like what we do, want to throw us some a few bucks here and there. Links to our merch store where we will have a mug at some point that says
"Don't talk to me until I've had my realms."
Until I've had my realms. Going to start working on that shortly. Rate us. Give us good reviews. 5-star reviews.
Listen to us on Good Pods so we can take over that app.
Do the Good Pods thing. Tell a friend. Share us with your friends. Who knows? You might have closet Mortal Kombat comic book fans who want to hear this stuff.
Or closet people in your life that want to hear about big hunky dudes and curvy women, potentially.
Yeah.
That's another way to do that. Also, I would recommend potentially think about who is the most easily scandalized member of your family.
Uh-huh.
Like, who is the most easily, like, upset by even the most mildly vulgar things, and just have them listen to us without really explaining what it is.
Yes, just play us for your grandma.
Right. Or whoever, like, maybe it's your, like, nephew. Maybe he's just really kind of puritanical about this kind of thing.
I mean, we're big with
nephews.
Never mind. trying to figure out a way to say big grandma boys.
You could just have said that.
Not to be confused with the movie Grandma's Boy.
We're popular with the elderly.
We're popular with the Happy Madison crowd.
And on that note,
next week, I think we're going to do another Mortal Kombat Conquest commentary, episode 4, the Monk Crumble one.
yeah,
I don't remember the
nobody
actual
cares
title
what
off
it's
my
actually called
head.
anymore. Because canonically, by all
Yeah.
the big fans, it's just the Monk Crumble one.
Oh, it's the monkest of crumbles.
It's just like the Buck Bumble theme song, but you just sort of make it about a crumbling monk.
Exactly.
Right about now, it's time to rock with the Monk Crumble.
After that, we'll be back to the Malibu Comics with Goro, Prince of Pain 1 through 3.
And somewhere in the near future, we'll do some weird Raven style bonus thing.
We're gonna find some. We're gonna work some Raven back in. Hell yeah, we are.
We're gonna do a listening party.
Oh, dude. All right, behind the scenes here, Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Sign off. Corey and I got some behind the scenes stuff to talk about.
Bye. I'm gonna go
Bye.
learn secrets. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.